Hello small steppers and welcome back to Being Bethany. Now, like always, before we get started, hit that subscribe button because guys, we've got some really cool things coming this month. It's been a busy month so far, so if you hit subscribe, you won't miss out on new videos like I'm going to be doing a birthday haul of all my presents, which includes this snazzy jumper from my sister, which incorporates everything I love, leopard print and Disney. So thank you very much to Karina and her family for giving me this for my birthday. But I'm going to show you all my other birthday bits because I was very lucky. I'm also going to do a video about, if you remember a little while ago, I did one about decluttering and mental health and my bedroom and how it was a work in progress. And guys, I've made some changes and my room is looking really cool. So that's coming up too, and lots more. So hit subscribe so you don't miss out on when those videos come, because I really want you guys to see them because I'm very excited about them. So what are we talking about today? Well, if you have me on Instagram or Facebook, you may have seen that the day before my 25th birthday, I passed my driving test. Yes, I did. I'm very excited about it. So today's video is all about accomplishing life skills with anxiety, but in particular, this is my driving story. So yes, I did pass my driving test, and I'll be really honest with you, having anxiety, and with this in particular, I really never thought I was going to get there. So today I thought it might be useful for other people who are struggling with driving right now to talk about my own story, but also for people who have anxiety or just have some things in their life that they know they really need to or want to face. Hopefully in this story there'll be some tips which will be applicable to not only driving but also some other life things as well. Because I think there is this belief that people with anxiety can't do things, can't achieve things, and that's not true. Yeah, let's get started. So as we get started, I just want to put a little disclaimer out there that there is no pressure to drive. Driving has to be if it's right for you. It has to be if it's right for you mentally and financially and perhaps where you live. Like if I was living in London, I probably wouldn't drive because I have links and public transport everywhere. But from where I'm from, we don't really have those links. I really did need to be able to drive so I could get to work easier without taking the bus, so I could open my scope of jobs as well, so it wasn't just my town and the next town that I could get a bus to. It was also things like, I don't know, just going to my sisters' and brothers' houses. So I always knew I wanted to drive. I'm the last in my siblings to learn, so I have been very lucky that I am from a really big family of 6, and then also with my mum as well. You know, I have been very lucky, and I want to say a big thank you to my family for giving me lifts so often throughout my whole life. I really appreciate it. So I guess, yeah, that's always been a bit of a safety net because I knew I could get around, but I always knew I wanted to drive. But I just wanted to put out there that don't feel like you have to. It just depends on your situation. So I want to take you back to when I was 18 or just nearly 18. And that's when I decided I was going to learn how to drive the first time. So me and my sister started at a similar time, my twin sister. And she then went on to complete and pass her test, and she's been driving for many years because I've now turned 25, and actually that meant that she, in this process, this time, could help me and be my co-pilot, as we like to call it, when I was practicing in my car. So big shout out to Alicia, because honestly you have helped me so much, and you've just been calm and patient with me, and I really appreciate it. So yes, when I was nearly 18, I was in sixth form and I started to learn how to drive. Now, long story short, I probably did about 6-7 lessons, so I did give it a good go. But oh my goodness, I would cry before every lesson and then just gather myself together to go into the car. I would worry about it for days. It would be on my mind constantly. And then in the lessons, I don't know, each teacher is different, and the teacher that I had at that time wasn't bad, but I think he rushed me. And I wasn't ready, you know, I felt like I couldn't properly drive yet, and I was practicing things like manoeuvres, and I just felt really rushed and under pressure, and at that time as well was also exams, was A-levels, and I just think my brain couldn't cope on too many things. Now, that's not just with anxiety, that might just be normal for someone else trying to juggle many things, but for me, I'd get so worked up about it. Every time I booked a new one, I'd think about it like the whole week. I'd get really panicky. Like I said, I'd cry, or I'd come in from the lesson and just burst into tears. So I decided, you know what, I'm not going to do it right now. I just want to focus on my exams, and that was enough. And from that point, I just kind of thought to myself, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. I just felt like it was a skill that I wasn't going to be able to learn, or I just get so nervous and worked up about it all the time that it almost just wouldn't be worth the upset and the aggro. So I left it. I went to uni the first time. I left. I took a year out. I didn't learn how to drive then. I commuted to work on the bus, which was long, but I did it. And then when I went to uni the second time, in first year, I commuted. So, I'm well versed in the public transport life. I then completed my uni, and that's as I came out of it about 2 years ago, is when I decided, you know what, now would be a really good time to learn. Yes, so I was lucky enough when my sister was learning. She ended up having 2 teachers because one of them retired, so she got a new one. And then that's who I went with this time when I started 2 years ago. Now, bearing in mind, this has taken me longer because I have been learning in a pandemic. So yes, he's called Glenn, my driving instructor, although I don't have him anymore, obviously. And I just want to give a big shout out to him because he was absolutely awesome. And this is a top tip. You really have to find the teacher that works best with you. We all learn differently, and I think that's a really big message that I want to give to everyone. We all learn differently in our own times, in our own way, so you really need a teacher that recognises, I guess, your way and how to approach that, and he was just awesome. He'd had other students as well who had really bad anxiety when it came to driving and in life in general, and just his approach, his calm way, and the way he explained everything in detail for someone with an anxious mind who just thinks about all possibilities was really, really helpful. But that's not to say, again, when I started, we've had tears, we've had panics, we've had late night sweats thinking about the lesson the next day. And again, when I started, I just thought I don't want to put myself through this. That's what I thought, in the sense of, it's a lot. When you have anxiety, of course it's natural to get nervous about driving and driving lessons. That is natural, but for me, like I said, it would consume my week, especially at the beginning. I think about it all the time. I'd get sweaty, I'd get anxious, I'd be sitting on the stairs ready for my lesson way early, and I'd just be thinking and thinking it over. But through this process, I've learnt things that have also helped me. For example, I realised as a person and with my anxiety how much easier it was for me to deal with lessons when they came early in the morning, or more or less. Now, obviously, Glenn would be quite busy, but he'd always try and accommodate. And when I told him that, actually, I think it's better when we get the lessons done in the morning, he remembered, and we tried to do that for the most part, because it meant that I'd have the sleep part. I'd be going to bed and I wouldn't, once I got to sleep, feel anxious. So when I woke up, I didn't have that much time for the anxiety to build. So it was manageable to a certain extent. If I had it later in the day, there's more room and possibility to go over things and think about it and give the worst possible scenarios in my head and get really panicky and almost want to cry as I step into the car. So actually, once I got up and knew, right, I have to get ready for my driving lesson now, by the time I got ready, it'd be time to go, and we faced that anxiety as I set off. So I guess that's my top tip, is know what works best for you. Obviously then COVID hit, and it's taken me about 2 years. I got a car during that time, which I insured, and started to practice in as well. So big shout out, like I said, to my sister Alicia for helping me with that. It's hard to remember right back at the beginning because it was a long time ago. I got on with it okay at the beginning. I think I got flustered a lot, and I think any little mistake I made, I beat myself up about it, and then, I started to get teary, and then other mistakes would happen, and what happened then is that COVID hit. And in that first lockdown, stripping away all these things that made me anxious, when I came back to them, I felt in a better position. And throughout the last 2 years, obviously making this channel as well, I have started to accept my anxiety and have started to try and practice things like picking apart my thoughts, which I've talked about before, or meditation, which have helped in the approach. So I think taking that time off, when I came back, I thought I was going to be so bad, and I think because I wasn't as bad as I thought I was, it built this little confidence in me. And I think that's really important in driving, is to build your confidence and to not be too hard on yourself. So I'm back and I felt in a stronger position, and then we kept having breaks, which of course is going to be hard, but I managed to book a test for last December and have my first test in December, because I really do appreciate during this time the frustration of people booking a test, then having it cancelled, then not being able to get a test for months and months later. So I have been very lucky on my journey that the 2 tests that I have booked have stayed where they were. So yes, big shout out to anyone learning to drive at the moment. I really understand and appreciate your frustration, because it's taken us all so much longer than we thought. So yes, I booked a test, and the best thing to do, like I said, is have a teacher that prepares you well, and I was very lucky that I had that. And we did mocks and we practiced what it was going to be like, and to actually take my first test, I didn't pass. I failed on something that wasn't a big, of course it was a major, so it was a big thing, but it wasn't in the grand scheme of things. I didn't do anything horrendously wrong. However, I was gutted. I was absolutely gutted, because I was very close. I think that's what got me the most, and I kind of felt like I had let my instructor down, but he said don't be silly. But the fact that I actually managed to take a test and get to that point, again, was a day that I never thought would happen. So yes, I was disheartened, because I knew that it was going to take a long time to get another test, and actually I managed to get a test for May. That was the first one I could get, and then we went into lockdown again. Like I said, very lucky that I managed to take my first test, and then I didn't have lessons until April again. So, and I had been practicing a bit, but not that much, because the thing is with me and with anxiety is I will put things off, and the best thing you can do is not put things off. And with driving, if you're able to practice outside of driving, if you have your own car, then that's great. Take that opportunity. You know, if not, just make sure that you try and at least do once a week. Other people would be like, you should try and do 2, blitz it, but I will, you know, everyone should take their own time, but keep going with it. And long story short, I came back and I passed this one the day before my birthday. But yes, I just want to reiterate that I never thought I would get there, and if you're struggling right now with it, please keep going, please believe in yourself, and know that there will be ups and downs with this journey. You're learning a new skill, so be kind to yourself. You know, with your instructor, ask questions, go over things if you're not comfortable with it. Don't feel any pressure to get things right first time. They are there to teach you. They are there to guide you, and they want to see you do well. So yes, that was a quick overview of my story. I really want to get into tips now, because I think that's the most beneficial. So firstly, like I said, it's a journey. It's your journey. Please, please take your own time. Do not compare yourself to anyone else, and do not feel pressure to complete your driving in this many hours, or to pass first time and all that stuff. Obviously during my story I took my theory as well, I forgot to say that. Make sure you do that as well. And I think this applies not only to driving but lots of other things in life, and especially with anxiety, is small steps. It's taken me a long time. Yes, I've had a pandemic to contend with, but I always knew it was going to take me a long time, because I wanted to be sure in myself. I didn't want to rush it. I wanted to feel like I could completely drive. And that was something that was really good with my teacher, because he really taught me the fundamentals of driving first before we built on any manoeuvres or things like that, because that's what went wrong the first time. And every time you do a lesson, feel really accomplished in yourself. Even if it didn't go the way that you wanted it to, you showed up and you had a go, and that's so, so important. Also, leading on from that, try and find a teacher that suits you. It's really, really important. And if you are someone with anxiety, ask, have you had someone before that has had anxiety, and what have you done to help them? You want to make sure it's the right fit, and if it doesn't feel like the right fit, then find someone else, because you're going to be spending a lot of time with that person. It's really, really important that they're able to help you in the way that you deserve. Number 3, belief, confidence. Your anxiety is going to want to tell you how rubbish you are quite a lot of the time. But that's not true. And hopefully when you have someone sitting next to you going, you know what, you did well today, that's also going to help. But you have to find it for yourself. Don't look at the huge big picture of, I've got to take a driving test. No. Lesson by lesson, build that confidence, build that belief, and you've got this. Also, when you're on the road, don't worry about other people. Yes, you've got to be aware of other people, checking your mirrors, checking who's walking around, your hazards, things like that. But if you approach a junction, for example, do not feel the pressure to go. If you don't feel comfortable to go, don't rush it. Don't worry if someone gives you a pesky beep behind you. They shouldn't really, because you're a learner, but I have had it. Do it in your own time, because you will feel pressure to speed off like everyone else does, and you're learning. Also, give yourself, again, this will be your teacher, will let you know, but give yourself enough time when you're ready to start preparing for your test to prepare. Lots of mocks and feeling comfortable with the exam situation, because it is quite daunting and it is very pressurised. However, if you've prepared enough and kind of got that feeling with mock tests of what that's going to be like, it actually really helps. Obviously as well, I haven't really talked about the theory, but I used a really good app. I think it was like the official DVSA app. It was like $4.99 or something. Really, really good, because it has loads, it basically has all the questions. If you can learn all the questions on there, that's what's going to be in your test. I just say give yourself enough time, because there's a lot to go through. They break it down into modules, and just do it bit by bit. But having it on my phone was a lot easier. But now I just want to say as well, now I have passed, I am taking things at my own pace. So yes, I'm sure other people will have passed and gone out straight away to lots of different places. I have gone out, and I went out yesterday. I went and dropped loads of cake round to my siblings all around near where I live. My sister Alicia was my co-pilot, so we were taking things at my own pace. Now I'm just gonna little and often drive. Just get used to the idea of driving, because it's quite a surreal feeling. I've got this far in life not being able to drive, that I think it will be an adjustment to actually feel like I can just go out and do anything I want, in a sense, because I can get there via my car. So, but I'm not going to rush it. Little and often though, because if I leave it now, I think my anxiety will build again. So that's why I've gone out yesterday, and I'll just keep plodding along, and obviously I'll be able to drive to work. So yes, I talked a lot. I hope this has been helpful. I just want to say that for driving, or for anything that you're doing with your anxiety, you can do it. I promise you. It will be a journey, and there will be downs, but there will be plenty of ups. Take everything in small steps and really praise your small steps, because you're doing a mighty thing. You really are. So just believe in yourself. You can do it. If anyone wants to know anything more about driving, if I haven't covered it, or even just other things that you want to tackle with your anxiety, please, message me or comment below, and I will answer that for you, because I just want to spread the faith that you can do this, I promise you. Yes, hit subscribe guys, because we've got some more videos coming your way this month. Thank you for all the support, thank you for all the love when I said that I passed my driving test. Oh, it meant the world to me. It just made it extra special, because I think lots of people knew what a big deal it was. So yes, I love you guys very much. I hope you have a lovely day. I hope you have a lovely week, and I'll see you very soon. Bye. So, what are we talking about today? Well, if you have me Well, by the title of the video, no, because I've got sun coming in from one angle, I've got a light. I'm not loving the light right now.